Call to order this meeting of the Maine Township Board. First of all, may we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Mr. Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call?
Absolutely. Assessor Cry.
Here.
Highway Commissioner Bouvet. Here. Clerk Giovanni is here. Supervisor Diamond.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Horvath.
Here.
Trustee Maher. Here. Trustee Malik.
Here. Thank you very much. Moving along now on our agenda, may I have a motion to approve the minutes, January 25th, 2022, bill pay review.
Motion to approve the minutes of the January 25th, 2022 bill pay review. Second.
All right, any discussion, comments, questions? Hearing none, we have a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes?
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of January 25th, 2022 board meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 25th, 2022 board meeting. Second.
Any corrections or comments? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes. All right. We have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 25th, 2022 Road District amended budget hearing.
Motion to approve minutes of January 25th, 2022 Road District Amendment Budget Hearing. I'll second the motion.
Any corrections or comments on that? All right, make a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the general assistance expenditures?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of February 2nd, 2022 and February 18th, 2022, and general assistance checks number 53909 through check number 53966 in the amount of $44,599.64.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, unless there's any comments or questions on that, I have a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes?
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. And now we have a motion to approve road district expenditures. And I note that there are, actually this is a two-part motion. One is to approve pay dates of February 2nd, 2022 and February 18th, 2022. And road districts check 22242 through 22281 in the amount of $94,285.06. And also a supplemental list of road and bridge fund expenditures, checks 22282 through 22304, totaling $261,710.03. So may I have a motion to approve those expenditures? And if you didn't want to say that again, you could just say so moved.
So moved. Second.
All right. Any questions or comments regarding those expenditures? And may I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
All right. May I now have a motion to approve the general town fund expenditures?
I'll make a motion to approve payroll for the pay dates of February 2nd, 2022 and February 18th, 2022, and general town fund checks number 59241 through check number 59302 in the amount of $266,556.33.
Sorry. Second.
Did I hear a second? Drew?
Second.
Yes, and don't use her two of them
Oh.
at the same time.
Sorry. One is going to call it.
Who is unanimous? Second. Pass it.
All right. Any questions or comments regarding that? Not hearing any, I will ask for a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Bluth?
Yes.
All right, fine. I now have reached the point on the agenda here regarding public participation. I don't see that anyone has signed in. Is anyone who came in after the sheet was picked up? No. So we have no request for public participation. All right. Now the next thing on our agenda is Pantry Marketing Introductory Township video presentation. I understand it's going to be postponed a little bit, but Robert, would you just talk about where we are with that and when we might expect to be able to see it?
Thank you. So we came back today to do some final shots, but we actually think this timing is probably going to work out even better because later on there's going to be discussion about, website revamp and maybe a new logo. So I think it makes sense to roll everything out at the same time. We wouldn't want this video to come out, possibly put ad dollars and things behind it and has an outdated logo right away on it. So we can debut it probably as early as next week online if we don't want to wait until the next board meeting. And we can coincide it with a launch of the e-newsletter or a new logo or whatever you decide.
Okay, all right. I will say I did see a sneak preview and it looks really great so far. But we'll expect to see the full thing at the latest by next board meeting.
Correct, yeah,
Correct?
definitely.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much for your work on that and for all of those of you who appeared, made cameo appearances in this video. So thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Robert.
Next, as you know, we usually have one department that speak to us. And this month I've asked Nick Nell, our new food pantry director, to talk to us about the food pantry, and in particular, some of the fact-finding ventures we've been on lately. So, Nick, would you please stand up to the microphone and tell us what you've been doing lately and what are some of the hopes or plans for the food pantry?
Okay, perfect. So, good evening, everybody. My name is Nicholas Leo. I am the newly appointed Maine Township Food Pantry Director. I want to begin by talking about some things that I've implemented since starting the position. We have changed the style of the food, how the food is distributed to the community by not handing out hand-packed boxes, but now to a shopping experience in which patrons can select the type of food that their family needs. Maine Township also got rid of the boxes, and we purchased reusable grocery bags in which patrons can use, and they have something to put their food into. I've also made connections with other local food pantries like the Village of Niles to collect food like breads, baked goods, vegetables when they have overstock of such items, and they donate it to our food pantry when we can. With that being said, we've made some changes that definitely has been an improvement, but Maine Township has a long way to become a more distinguished, modern, and all-around better food pantry. Supervisor Diamond and I went to surrounding food pantries to get a better idea of what other townships are doing to better serve their communities. We started at Wheeling Township, who works coincide with the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Wheeling Food Pantry is open 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4 p.m. Wheeling provides fresh and frozen vegetables, fruits, eggs, and dairy products with the help of the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Wheeling has multiple large refrigerators with see-through glass doors so patrons can see the items inside the refrigerator. Besides their shopping area, they have a large separate inventory room for stock, check expiration dates, mark CPU codes, and separate items. Wheeling has 2 employees and they use volunteers from their senior program along with people in their community. We also visited Niles Township Food Pantry, which is located in a separate building behind their township, which leaves for plenty of space. They are open to the public Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 12:30 and 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Niles also has extended hours on Tuesdays from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Niles works with the Greater Chicago Food Depository, Food Rescue, and local grocery stores. Niles provides fresh vegetables, fruits, dairy, and eggs, and meat products. Niles also has a very large walk-in refrigerator as well as a walk-in freezer to hold supplies to accommodate the patrons. Niles also has a very large separate room to hold inventory, check CPU codes, and process items that are coming in. The volunteers that they use are people with disabilities to help them learn vocational skills, people from the community, and Cook County Community Service, but only people with petty crimes. Niles' goal is to provide a non-invasive program where they want to serve their food with dignity. The last place we visited was the self-help closet, the food pantry from Des Plaines, and they are open from Tuesdays and Saturdays. They provide clothing as well as food to their community. They also provide fresh vegetables, meat, cheese, and dairy, but it is purchased through Aldi and not through the Greater Chicago Food Depository. A lot of their donations are from local grocery stores and restaurants. Des Plaines also has a large room to separate items and to check CPU codes and expirations. Something unique about the Des Plaines Pantry is that they have a backpack program, which they work with school counselors to give out backpacks to children with food insecurities on Friday before they leave school. Des Plaines uses a lot of volunteers from the people in the community, kids from high school who want to volunteer for college, and they use their seniors as well. My goal as a food pantry director are to purchase large refrigerator through either a grant from the Greater Chicago Food Depository, a fundraiser, or a possible donation through a local business in the community. I've already established a connection with the Greater Chicago Food Depository, and I'm currently waiting to hear back on the process of getting started and what we need to do on our end. Once that begins, I will start providing the community with fresh vegetables, fruits, dairy, eggs, and meats. The process takes long. I will start by purchasing these items from a local grocery store. I also want to figure out space in the building to hold inventory, check CPUs, and separate items to create more space for patrons in the food pantry, and I know we were here to kind of talk about this. And to give the food pantry a facelift, possible painting, getting pictures for the wall, strategize best placement of space, and optimize the shopping experience, and continue to create relationships with other food pantries so we can work together to best help our community.
Hey, thanks very much. I just want to know if any of the board members or other officials have any questions about what you observed or what your plans are. Anyone? Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
I think it's great. It sounds great. I love the fresh vegetables and fruits and dairy and meat. I think that's a wonderful concept. I'm glad we're doing it to provide a more well-rounded diet or possibility of a diet to our residents. It's great. Thanks, Nick.
No problem. Thank you.
Do you have kind of a preliminary idea of where you're thinking of putting the glass casings in the refrigerators?
We have space in the basement that I want to. We have a back area where we usually store the shopping carts and where we used to place old boxes or where we used to tape it. So I want to kind of create the space, move the shopping carts out of the way. So there is space back there to place a refrigerator. There's also a spot in between some of the cages where we place some items on shelves. So there is space. It's just trying to figure out where we want to place all the freezers and all the refrigerators, because we do have one down there that doesn't have the see-through glass, and I would like to use it, but it'd be nice to, try to somehow fundraise some money or try to see if we can get a donation of a see-through glass refrigerator for it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Great. Any other questions from any of the board members? Okay, thanks very much. I appreciate your report and what we've seen and what your plans are. So
Not a problem. Thank
best
you.
of luck in moving forward with all those things. Okay, great. Okay, thanks. We'll move on now to old business. First thing is discussion of the Touchpad Water Reclamation District project. And I don't think we really need to vote on this, but you may all recall, or most of you may recall, that we've talked about this a few times now. And most recently, the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District wanted some kind of reassurance that we did intend or plan to go through with the project, assuming we can reach an agreement. And Ed and I talked about this, and Ed, you'll see a letter there in your place there that they're asking that we submit to them, the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. And that is with language that our attorneys suggested and has been substituted for what the original letter said. So we'll be moving forward with that. And I don't, Ed, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I just know there were some additions that they had to include with the road district and the IGA. But the initial approval, I'm willing to sign just because we're not committing to anything yet. So. Right.
We do have we haven't seen a final IGA yet. I think your law firm, Mr. Hogan, is still working on the IGA. So when you get that done, of course, we'll want to look that over and talk that over. But I don't think we have any problem with telling the Metropolitan Water Group what we already said as a board, and that is we have a very open plan to go forward with this, assuming we're able to work out the details of the IGA. So, all right, that's all we really have to say about that, just a little update about that. The next item on our agenda is the community solar. We all talked about that and voted on that at the last minute meeting. Since then, we've gone forward with meeting with both representatives from Solstice and representative from Arcadia, and talked with them about what type of materials we would consent to having to send out. And I want to thank Robert for his guidance in that respect. They would like us to send out more materials. I keep getting calls about that, so we'll be discussing that further perhaps. But I just want to let you know that that's going forward, although I myself haven't received any communications, that is as a homeowner in the Maine Township, but presumably we all will receive something before too long. Okay, all right, under new business. All right, we have, first of all, a couple of resolutions relating to carrying the budget over. As we know, our fiscal year begins March 1st, just a week from now. And of course, right now we don't quite yet have either a budget for the town or for road and bridge. So what these resolutions do is sort of give us a temporary budget, carrying it over until the next year. So, first thing we have under number 11 is discussion and vote of the continuing resolution 2022-3 and 2021 road and bridge. So, well, I suppose we should take them one at a time. All right. Okay, the first one I have is 2022-3, which is for Maine Township. Again, this is a resolution that allows us to continue, despite the fact that we haven't passed the budget quite yet. It is in your packet. Do I have a motion to vote in favor of passing resolution 2022-3? Do I have such a motion?
I'll make a motion to vote in favor of resolution 2022-3.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Is there any, are there any comments or questions about this resolution? Okay. If not, ask for a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, similarly, we have resolution 2022 RB, Road and Bridge, -1. Same type of resolution, which allows us to continue operating until we pass a new budget, which we will do for Road and Bridge very soon, and shortly thereafter for Maine Township, I expect, for the town. Do I have a motion to pass resolution 2022 RB1?
Motion to pass resolution 2022-RB-1.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I have a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. The next item we have is discussion and vote on Road and Bridge line item transfer.
No, it's a bucket.
I'm sorry, what?
Next one,
Fiscal year.
it's bucket.
I can't understand.
The second on the new business is bucket.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did skip over this one. Okay. All right. Okay, fine, let's back up one minute. All right, I did want to have a discussion on our preliminary budget for the town fund and general assistance. Okay, so this is a little bit more involved. What you have in front of you is...
That was not in the materials, right?
No, it is. There are materials on your table there too. Some of it is and some of it's not. So what you'll see in your place there are actually two versions of the budget. But if you look carefully, you'll look one for last year, which is 2021-22, and one for this coming year, 2022-23. Now, I actually asked the administration to put both of these budgets out so you could compare last year to this year, if you wanted to do so. And you can compare the total expenditures anticipated and total revenue anticipated too. So that's why both of them are out of your place. And of course, you can tell the difference because the one from last year is already signed, and that tells you what the anticipated expenditures were for last year and anticipated revenues. Now, as you can tell from looking on the front page, again, I'm referring to 2021, and there's 22. Looking on the front page, the estimated revenues were 1.7 million. Well, estimated expenses for this year were 4 million. And why was there, sort of a deficit of over 2 million? And that is, as we know, the last board levied a small amount and then created an abatement too. So as a result of this, we really had to cut into our savings quite a bit. So that, again, is for your information. The next one that you're looking at is 2022-23. And this is our preliminary budget, which I hope we will pass tonight. It's not our final budget. Next month, we'll hold our budget hearing on the town fund, and we'll vote on a final budget for the Maine Township.
But do we have to pass the temporary budget?
Temporary, or no, preliminary?
No, the preliminary.
We have to pass it, don't we? We do have to pass it. It's a tentative budget. It's a preliminary budget. So, you don't think we have to just present it?
Yeah, just present it. It's just presented.
All right, I mean, certainly we have to pass the final budget.
Right.
Okay, all right, I thought we actually sort of adapted the preliminary one.
The last page seems to say, call for a vote, that it be,
Yeah.
Well, I
It does.
included that because, I included the last page just so you can see a sample, but that will be included in the final budget as well. But I don't think we take a vote. This was just, I thought this was just up for discussion, but I mean,
Okay.
take a vote, take a vote.
Yeah, our attorney's advising
Doesn't
we
say
have
on
to
the
take a
agenda.
vote, and it doesn't hurt to take a vote.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt.
okay.
So anyway, a few things I wanted to mention about this budget. And again, looking at the front page, our estimated expenditures are just about the same as what we estimated last year's would be, 4.1 million. We're estimating our revenues will be a little higher at 2.8 million, but still quite possibly operating at a deficit. Well, why is it? You might wonder, why is that? Didn't we just pass a levy that would bring us back up to the 2018 level? And you would hope it would bring it back up, but there is sort of an unfortunate phenomenon at play here, and that is, I'm going to ask you to turn to a couple of other pieces of paper in your packet here, which, if you're like me, will kind of give you a headache trying to understand this, but I think it's best we try and do this. If you look at the long sheets right here, that show the general town fund. This shows our income through the end of last month, through the end of January, under revenue. And if you look under the year-to-date column, on the Maine Township General Town Fund, you'll see year-to-date column of 523,000. Does everyone see that?
Not yet.
Okay.
This is the document you're referring to, right? So
It
like-
is correct, I'm correct. Maine Township General Town Fund, 523,000. So I've been watching this number throughout the year and wondering why it wasn't getting bigger, and why we were not getting more income in. Because last year they certainly levied a small amount, but they did levy slightly over $1 million. So every month I kept checking, why aren't we getting more money in from the treasurer? What's going on here? Why are we only getting 523,000? Now, I checked with the bank this morning, and we've got like another $8,000 in February so far, but it's still not very much money. Why is that? So I've been making phone calls, trying to figure this out, trying to understand this, talking with their staff, talking with their bank, talking with the assessor's office, calling the treasurer's office, And finally, the explanation I have is this. If you look at the piece of paper which is at your place, it looks like this. This piece of paper right here.
Not in the original materials, but
No,
today.
not in the original materials.
Thank you.
Not in the original materials.
Right, yeah. Thank you.
What happens
Thank you.
when a board reduces its levy substantially is the taxing body can end up owing the treasurer money. And this is what happens. For instance, if you look across from 2018, you see that the levy was 3.7 million roughly after the abatement. You divide that number in two, and that tells you how much the treasurer will send out in the bills for the first installment. Actually, it's a little more than that. It's 55%, but I'm going to say for two. So that means the first installment went out telling our taxpayers they owed 1.9 million, and they paid 1.9 million. But the problem is the next year, 2019, the board only levied 1.5 million. That meant after the first installment came in, we were overpaid. We were overpaid by $500,000. So that meant that in the middle of the year, we already had received too much money from the treasurer. And that problem has sort of persisted, not quite as badly, but throughout the rest of the next 3 years, because the levy kept going down. And the first installment is always 55% of the prior year. You can, as we did in 2018, or rather 2019, receive too much money from the treasurer, which means that the treasurer withholds it from you in years after that. We were running a deficit, running in arrears, so the treasurer has withheld that money. And that's why, the treasurer has explained to me, we only received $523,000 in this past year, which again was half of what we thought we were going to receive, but because of this running deficit, we're receiving less than we thought we would. And to compound that problem, next year, last year, remember the levy was $1 million, so for the first installment, we're only going to get half that amount, because that's the way it works. You always get 0.55 of the year before. So that means with the first installment, we're only going to receive about another $500,000. So we only received $500,000 this year, and we're only going to receive $500,000 in the first installment. Now remember, our budget in the past has usually been about $4.5 million every year. $4.5 million. What we're getting in is a fraction of what we have received in the past. And of course, our bank
From
account,
property taxes.
our bank account is going down, obviously. Now, the next time we'll get a large infusion of cash is with a second installment, because that will reflect our current levy, thank you. But when is the second installment bills coming out this year? Are they coming out on time? Do we know that? No. In fact, what have we heard about that in terms of when they'll probably come out?
We're saying they're going to be due October 1st, but within our office, we're thinking that they might not even come out until the end of September. The way everything is moving right now with the office, with the assessor and the board of review. We're not even open with the board of review, and generally we're open like 5 months ago. So everything is kind of behind.
So we don't know when we'll start getting that large infusion of cash that we should get based on the new levy that we passed. It could be very late in the year. So that means that we're not going to have a lot of cash for a while. We're not going to have a lot of cash. So I go through that all to explain to you, what's happening and where we are with our budget and our levy and our money coming in. And I also bring that up in terms of the preliminary levy. It's very hard to estimate. It's very hard to estimate exactly what we will receive during this coming year for the reasons that I have just mentioned. The delay in the second installment, the low amount we're going to get in the first installment, and so on, so forth. So what we put down as a revenue amount is really very much an estimate. I mean, we have to estimate every year. We can never be absolutely certain. But it's an even more uncertain estimate this year for the reasons that I've mentioned. So if you have questions about it, That's why the estimate is a little bit on the low side. We don't want to really guess how much we don't want to overestimate how much we're going to get. But that's why we are where we're at. We're sort of estimating, but estimating on the low side because of the uncertainty of these other factors playing into how much we will get in our tax levy. All right.
How much are we sitting at within our reserves right now?
Well, in our bank account, I have to, I looked at the bank account earlier this month, when it came in, but I'm not sure if I have that right now. Let's see if I can get that before the end of the meeting, because I'm sure that's of interest to you. And we, again, are just paying all our bills tonight, so that will deplete the Parkway account. It's Chase Bank that most of our funds are in. And you see that? Do you have that right there? Oh, good. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. The town fund is down to $3,247,000, and general assistance fund is at $1,300,000, and road and bridge is at $3,598,000. And this was all as of January 31st. So, historically, the town fund would be at a much higher level. So, does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, anyway, that is a comment about our preliminary budget. Does anyone have questions about that? What I just talked about, or other aspects of our preliminary budget?
Just a quick question, Karen.
Yes.
As I look at these two documents, you loaded it to us, thank you. The property tax estimate for last year was 1.5 million, and this year it's 2.5 million.
Right. So again, I'm hoping and planning that we'll get a large infusion of cash in the second installment, but I can't be precise about that.
Okay. But that's why we've increased it based on
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, so again, what I'd like to do now is call for a vote to approve the preliminary or tentative agenda. Again, next month is the month that we'll vote on the final agenda. What did I call it? I'm so sorry, thank you. The budget, the tentative budget. All right. Keith, could you, Mr.
Absolutely.
Clerk?
Supervisor Diamond?
We didn't make a motion.
That's right. We don't actually have a motion yet. Could someone move to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative preliminary budget for 2022-23.
Second.
Okay. I should ask now if there's any other questions or comments. All right. Hearing none, then we have a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malina?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now we can move on to discussion and vote on the road and bridge line item transfer. I don't know if I have anything in my packet about this. Ed, can you tell us about this?
Sure, this was just a $100,000 project for Greenwood Circle, in which we couldn't get the project out to bid and also invoiced before February 15th. So we have to do a request to transfer those funds for the next fiscal year, so we can include that in the bid packet with the other project.
Okay. And I'm sorry, would you tell us what that amount was again?
It's $100,000.
Okay. All right. And once again, would you articulate what fund it's going from and to so that someone can make a motion to that?
Yeah, sure. It's going to the road improvement fund.
And it's from what fund?
It's from the road improvement fund.
Wait, I'm sorry. Which fund is it going to from?
So it's from the 21,
Oh.
22 to the 22, 23.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I thought you were transferring within 1 year, that you were transferring
No,
a
that's
line
what-
item from one to another.
That's what we were in discussion with Mr. Hoban about, if it required a resolution to do so.
Can you clarify, Ed, what we're talking about here? Is this a handout that was?
No, there is no handout on this. Okay, I thought that when it was a transfer from one fund to another within the same fiscal year, which is a line item transfer. But what you're talking about is really an amendment of the new budget, right? I mean, you want to amend your new budget to add 100,000 to it, right?
It's a transfer from the new budget to the next fiscal year.
Yeah, I don't know, can we transfer money from one fiscal year to another? I mean, I think you can amend the new budget.
Hold off to the next
You
meeting.
can simply amend the new budget.
All right, so yeah, Mr. Hoban, we're going to hold off until the next special meeting for this.
Okay, all right, well, we'll just withdraw that from the agenda, and at the next meeting,
Thank you. Then we
your
can get some
budget
clarification
meeting,
on what that is. Sorry.
you can add 100,000 to it if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah.
So you have a tentative budget that we already passed at our last meeting, and then your budget hearing is currently scheduled for March 8th.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. So it is not a line item transfer, and that's being withdrawn from the agenda. Okay, now, something I think will be more fun than all these numbers is discussion of rebranding of the township logo. And I'm going to ask Kelly, along with the other participants in the discussion about this so far, Dana and Richard, to talk about this. Kelly, would you like to start off with a discussion? And, you know, Richard and Dana, if you want to go to the mic, if you want to add anything, you're welcome to do so. Or not.
Do you mean Richard or?
Did I say Robert? I'm sorry. I meant Robert.
Which kind of words?
Richard is confused. Sorry, Robert, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, you have a mic already.
Yeah, I just stand, feel better.
I'll start then.
Okay, Kelly, jump in.
Okay, a lot of work. Okay, so I had a meeting with Supervisor Diamond, Trustee Horvath, and Marty McGelvin, although Robert has been very instrumental in this as well. So we met to discuss rebranding, and we looked over the image of the township, and we discussed creating a different yet consistent identity. And so I included some samples in your board packet. You want to pull that out. So it's not what was placed in front of you, but in your board packet, I included, there should be 4 pieces. It's letterhead stationery, Facebook header, website header, and the newsletter front page. And you can see by the difference of appearance, by all the samples, that we are definitely in need of some uniformity among the information that we're sending out. So some of the ideas that we discussed were choosing a color scheme, such as one that is on the website header currently. And then Kelly was nice enough to come up with some great samples that were actually placed at your seats tonight. And I don't know if you want to jump in, but I'm going to jump in.
I can talk about this part.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wish that everybody could see this, but so basically what I did is I first went and looked at a bunch of different townships. I pulled up the list of all the Illinois townships and kind of went one by one. And, you know, sort of our current logo, which you can see up there, is more like a sort of traditional seal, and that is a tree and then some waves or some lines, which I assume is like river waves, and then a plow. And so I wanted to see if other townships were sort of keeping this sort of traditional seal, or if they had moved on. And there are a lot of townships that have sort of very traditional seal as their logo, but then there are a lot that have sort of moved into a more modern look. And so I just kind of found a handful that are, you know, nearby townships and put them on here so you can see some examples. I'm not necessarily in favor of all of these, but at least you can kind of get a sense that there is this sort of push to kind of modernize the look for townships. So the second page is just another summary of what sort of Dana was talking about, where it shows where we are currently. And it has the current logo, it has the header that is on the website, the header that is in the newsletter, and then these are some images I have on there that have been used. And you can see they're very different. One is, like a sort of a minty green and like a periwinkle blue, and the other is more of like a navy and turquoise, and they're not connected. And then if you would see like our letterhead or our business cards, it's sort of like a bright spring green. So it's very disconnected. So for those of you that don't know, my background is in branding and graphic design. So this was sort of right up my alley. So then on the last page, what I did is I just, as a very preliminary idea, and this is not like, this is what we're doing, this is just a sample. I just wanted to kind of give an example of how we could sort of take our old design or take some of the colors from, let's say, the website and apply that across, everything that we have. So at the top, I have basically the same logo in a couple of different ways. You can, and the one nice thing is that when you have a logo, you want to have different versions of it. So you want to have one that's more of like a square or circle. You want to have one that's long and skinny, so that you can apply it to different things, as you need. So you want something that's versatile. So I had sort of drafted up something that kind of used those wavy lines from our old logo, sort of kind of throwing a nod to that, but making it just a little bit more modern and just very clean and simple. And then I just have an example of what we could do with the website header, and then also what we could do as a sample. I just have two different examples of the newsletter header. They're not printing very well in here, but you can kind of get an idea. And so also instead of the image of the building, I still wanted to have that in there, so I actually created a fine line illustration from two different photographs of the building that I sort of incorporated in there. So this was just one example of how we could sort of move into the future with our look and our feel across our newsletter and our website and our letterheads and all of those things. So this was just sort of one first attempt at that.
Kelly, did you have any that you sort of particularly liked or thought would work well? And you've numbered them so that we can talk about
they're all essentially the same. It's like a kit. So like the 1, 2, and 3 are basically, it's the same design, but it could be used in different ways. So if you've got a light background, you could use number 1. If you've got a dark background, you could do something with white letters on so you could kind of apply them in different ways. Number 4, where it's like a long, skinny version, that's just another, it's the same, basically the same design, but in a different format, so that if you have something where you have a picture or a flyer or something, and you just need the name skinny across the bottom, that would be a way that you could apply it. So then number 4 was an example of how what you could do on the website, and then 5 and 6 were just 2 attempts at playing around with, a replacement for what the newsletter header is. So.
Okay. I see you have different fonts here, though. Is there some reason why some have different fonts than the others?
They're all the same fonts. The only thing different is where it says mainly news, just as like a different headline font.
Oh.
I kind of like the coloring into nice, bold.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll open up the board members for any comments or questions. Well, let me ask you first. Did you have anything you wanted to add to what Kelly just said, either Dana or Robert?
Well, I just want to say something else with the marketing background, that the monetary value of what Trustee Horvath has provided to the board is immense. If you were to go to a marketing firm and ask them to do something like that, it would be a very significant investment. So on behalf of the township, we owe you a debt of gratitude. One angle that I take is kind of a narrative angle at the logo. So what I like about Trustee Horvath preserving those lines is we can say it represents the Des Plaines River. And that's a powerful symbol in this area. The earliest settlers of this area, the Native Americans, depended tremendously on that. And then the first European settlement in the area was also very dependent on the river. So it gives a narrative that really speaks to Maine Township specifically. Now, I did have the privilege of learning a little bit about the plow from Highway Commissioner Bouvet, which was quite interesting. But I'll say a lot of areas are plowed for farming, and I don't know the significance of the tree, but there's certainly trees everywhere. So the river is something that, if we're speaking about the township, is something unique and very important to the history of this area, all the way back to pre-European settlement times. The other option that I'll present the board is about 7 years ago, Des Plaines adopted a new logo that they use a lot on their social media. It's a lowercase d and a lowercase p in a circular logo, similar to, in style, in my opinion, to what Trustee Horvath's prepared, and also some of the logos on the example page. So they preserved the seal of the city of Des Plaines, which is still on the Des Plaines city flag if you go by City Hall, as like the official seal. But they adopted a really friendly, more 21st century, more attractive logo to use in places like social media. So I just want to present that as another option that the board can pursue. It's not without precedent. I don't think I have any other comments. Trustee Horvath, I know I emailed you with some comments. I think I covered them
Yeah, I think so.
here.
Yeah, and I mean, I actually did have some additional designs that I was kind of playing around with, but I didn't want to throw too much at everybody. So I mean, I definitely can continue, you know, tweaking this and working on this, but this was just, you know, I wanted to show how we can take where we are, kind of elevate where we've been, and kind of also make everything very cohesive, so.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
I think that's great, and I appreciate all your work. I would kind of like to see something that does kind of identify Maine Township other than the wavy lines, because that could be really anything. It's not obvious that it's a river. You know, I think the tree comes because Park Ridge is a tree city, possibly. We have, you know, and I like the idea of keeping the seal somewhere else, you know, and then including, you know, and then using this in other places. But I just think we need something that is more identifying, that kind of tells us about Maine Township a little more, maybe. But it's beautiful. You did a lot of work. It's really beautiful, and the colors are great.
I do like the colors.
Yeah, well, the colors I did basically just pull them from the website. So, and I think our website looks great. So, you know, I think that that's already a color scheme people are familiar with, and you know, the similar colors are in the newsletter, so it's not like we're going from purple to blue.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like finding the balance and kind of pulling them all together.
I did have a question about this plow. We do have this plow out front. Ed, can you tell us any more about this plow, or why it was on the
Well, that was
logo?
a former highway commissioner, Provenzano, who put that out there. Obviously, this summer, he contacted me about wanting to repaint it and put his name on it, since he's the one who did it. So I was in complete support of that, since he, you know, thought of that very highly. So, but yeah, it's something that's very important to him, and I wanted it to actually look good in front of our building. So
Where did that plow come from? Or where?
I'm not sure where it came from,
Okay.
actually, but
All right.
I know our former foreman, Bobby Brzezinski, he was always good at finding old stuff and making it new. So.
Okay.
I had the same thought as Kim. I don't see how those lines signify a river. Have we considered a slogan? Like some of these other townships, you know, have slogans. We just have established since, as far as I know. For example, Maine Township has 2 hands, shaking hands. And Antioch is proud of their Channel Lakes, and Vernon says they're the welcoming community. I'm just wondering if we'll want to consider a slogan of why they to identify us if we want to think about that.
But I think
That'd be my only thought.
that's something if we wanted to do, you know, a meeting sometime that was, the public could come to where we can brainstorm. I mean, you want something that identifies the township, so what would that be? When you think of Maine Township, what do you think about? So, those would be good things to hear.
We just sort of have a logo on here that looks like Ely Township, serving people or serving communities, things, incidentally, both 50/50.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing, those lines were meant to just mimic the lines that are already in the seal, to sort of pull that, a nod to that. I'm assuming that they're river lines, but I don't know.
Outlines.
Well, right, who knows? It could be agricultural.
4 lines on a type.
Right, I mean,
294.
I guess we can do a railroad track.
Could be 4-lane highway.
Yeah, so,
That's a good point.
that was the only reason I specifically kind of pulled that in there as just a way to kind of reference that. But the one thing I will say, and just looking at some of these other ones, the one thing you want to have with the logo is you want it to be simple and clean so that when you shrink it down and it's really tiny, you can understand it and read it and recognize it. Or if you, so like even that, the one we have, like if you shrink it down really small, it just kind of looks like ink blots, like it becomes almost muddy. So some of these other ones I think look great when they're this big, but as you start to shrink it down, they can also, when there's a lot of detail, you just have to be careful of that, so.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it's like the original seal had something to do with like plow, AKA plant, water, and then growth
Yeah.
with the tree.
Possible. Yeah, and I don't think, I don't think we need to, remove this from the building and, get rid of the flag that we have. I don't see why we can't have an official seal of Maine Township. This is more of like, when they're working on their video and they want to have something that pops up at the end of the video or the front of the video that says Maine Township, this would be sort of like more for marketing and more for, those types of things, so.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments about it? And does anyone have any suggestions as to where they want to go now? First of all, I do want to say thank you very much, Kelly, for putting the work into this, that you obviously put in, collecting the information, attending the meeting, coming up with these designs.
I enjoy it.
Should we, I'm not really sure what kind of direction the board wants to give Kelly and our staff members here as to where to go. Should we move forward with this? I'm not sure what I'm hearing in terms of what, if anything, you want to change. Does anyone want to address that? Jim?
Well, it just says we were going to rebrand it potentially and with a logo and a general theme. So that's my question. Do we want a different theme or do we want to stick with the things we have? Right, that's something I don't point. So, and I'm obviously
I think
sure we can come up with something good.
I think the one thing we need to do no matter what is that there needs to be some sort of cohesiveness between our letterhead and our, newsletter and our website, because they are all over the place and they don't look like they come from the same place. So I think that's what sort of initiated this. So this was an attempt at taking the colors and the feel of the website and kind of applying that to, we can apply this to the newsletter and we can apply this to the, letterhead. So I guess I would like to do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be this specifically, but I would like to kind of make us look good.
Okay. Well, I'd just like to move forward with adapting these for use throughout our township. Now, we don't have to, throw it all on our letterhead. We can continue to use the letterhead that we've already printed, and at some point in the future, when it's time to print some more, we can do that. But I think what we have here are good examples of what we might do, and I'd like to get a consensus from the board. Would you like to move forward with this, to adopt these various versions of what pretty
They
much
can
the
be
same?
tweaked. I can tweak them still. I can,
Yeah, I think you should. I think the cohesiveness point is a great point.
Do I have comments from other board members?
On the logo, my suggestion is, we can have this building image in the back of this logo, and then we can say, the Maine Township, so at least show, this image in the back, the background, very light image, and then we can say the Maine Township and the river.
Yeah, well, and I think the one nice thing is that, it's sort of like, you can like pull from different things. So like we could have a version that's like that could be used on bigger things where, or even like a little small building, kind of down, like the little line of the building down there, or, you can kind of pick and choose. It's like growing animals.
I think that's a great suggestion because this building is so unique, because it is, it is Frank Lloyd Wright's son that designed it, and there's no other township that has a building this, so that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, because it could even just be like very,
Light image.
right, or even just small, I know nobody down there can see what I'm drawing, but like just a small little,
Like this white one.
like a little silhouette or a little something at the bottom too.
Yeah.
And maybe make that more of what is Maine Township, is like something, the lines from this building somehow, or, kind of working that. I can definitely play with that.
We might maybe, instead of the wavy lines, since none of us really know what they were there for in the first place, we're just guessing, maybe just put the building.
What I could do-
Whatever you think.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, what I could do is maybe for the, I know we want to have something sooner than later.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to wait till the next meeting, but I could come up with like maybe 2 or 3 options.
Okay.
You do it at the special board meeting.
Oh, yeah, can I do that?
Yeah, well, right now, March 8th has been publicized as a budget hearing for the year. But I believe there's still time to publicize it as a budget hearing and a meeting if you want to discuss other matters. And if the board would like to do that, we can do that. And we can revisit the branding topic then.
Yeah, I don't want to take a ton of time. It would just be maybe me kind of giving like 3 options. and
That would be
say-
great. If you wouldn't mind spending more time on that, Kelly, that would be wonderful. And of course, I think Robert and Dana will be around to consult with you if you want to do that. Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
For Robert, for you, do you need something sooner than that though for the video?
No, we are going to incorporate the new logo into the video,
Okay.
but we can certainly wait, it's only 2 weeks away.
Okay.
And, once the board adopts the final look, you can share with us the banner, we can put
Okay,
up
yeah,
Facebook and the logo and et cetera.
Okay.
Okay.
It's really nice, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
thank you. It's really looking better. When you see all those different looks, it does look kind of like these are different townships that just have that.
You didn't realize until we laid it out.
Yeah,
Table,
you see it's
all the
quite
different
striking.
colors, nothing was cohesive,
Yeah,
nothing really went
right.
together, and, yep.
Well, then we
Much
can
needed.
all get t-shirts.
Okay, that's another.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that presentation, and thank you for your continued work on this. All right, so the next item on our session, or agenda is a closed session, and we have other announcements or items to talk about publicly, so I'd like to do those first, and then everyone who's here can just leave and doesn't have to stick around. One of the things that I'd like to mention is sort of related to what we've just seen. We've heard that Kelly and our committee here did a lot of work on branding, but there's another document that was recently produced. I want to thank our staff for this. And the people I think worked on this were Austin and Nick and Alicia. And this is a little flyer that you see at your place here. So you see this. And I'm sorry, not people out in the audience don't have it, though, do they?
No, we don't.
Okay. Well, it's not quite finished. But what we see here is a flyer that I hope to distribute to schools, and that's why it has the sort of childish icons on it, about what can Maine Township do for you. And it talks about not only the food pantry, but other type of assistance that Maine Township can provide to its residents. And, we just hope to get information out in various ways about services the township provides, and going through the schools, we're hoping we'll reach another segment of our population that perhaps we don't reach that much. And what we also have here are versions of the same flyer in different languages. And I want to thank, I believe, Luz very much, who created the Spanish version. I don't know if Janessa worked on this too. Did she? Austin, you're nodding your head?
It was primarily Luz, yeah.
Okay, so our new employee, Vanessa, along with Luz, who's been a long-time employee here, has created the Spanish version of this. And still sort of a little bit of a work in progress in terms of the icons is the Polish version, which Baisha and Eva worked on. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And, you know, I think it'd be very nice if we had a version maybe addressing some of the other populations. Now, Asif, I'm looking at you right now, and, you know, maybe there are, either you or someone in the community could translate this also into one or more of the other languages that you think a large population of our students would speak, or their parents would speak it at home. So you see what we have here, and you know, look, maybe if you can give us language similar to that, we can work on that too, if you wouldn't mind, okay?
But you know, I will put one or two languages. You know, one is a Gujarati language. A lot of people, the resident of Gujarati is living around, and Urdu. So
I thought you'd say Urdu, but what was the other one? Is it not Gujarati?
Gujarati.
Gujarati and Urdu. Okay, all right. So let me know, you know, if you think that's something we can do fairly soon. If so, I'll wait to bring this at the school's end. Otherwise, you know, we can always take it to them a little bit later. But that's something I'm hoping to get out. So thank you, Asif, and thank you to all the staff members who worked on it. For those that aren't here tonight, please pass on my thanks to them.
What's your time frame?
What's that?
What's your time frame on it? When do you want to bring it to the school?
I didn't set an exact date.
Because I get Ferris as a name of my
I'm
office.
sorry, what's that?
Ferris. Sam?
Yeah, what about
He
Sam?
would maybe be able to contribute to that too.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll talk to you more about that later.
Okay.
Can you come back maybe and see me again or something?
Sure.
Okay,
I always
sure.
visit.
All right, that's great. And then several things I want to make sure, all board members, talk to Alicia about this if they want to go to any of these events. March 15th, there's an educational event at the Marriott Chicago Naperville. So you have this, I think it was at your place. That's coming up very soon. So please let her know if you can by the end of the week so she can register you if you want to go. Another one is the April 6th Township Lobby Day. Please let her know about that too. And then finally, there is a general assistance seminar, which I'll probably go to in Austin. Maybe you'll go to it too. I don't know that everyone would be interested in that. But I would like everyone who wants to go to let Alicia know as soon as possible so she can register us for that. Okay, we're getting down here. Another event that's coming up is April 4th. It's a little bit down the road, but April 4th, North Suburban Legal Assistance Foundation is going to be doing a Zoom program, and they've offered to do it in the two languages. Their staff speaks, one in English, one in Spanish, letting our public know what kind of services they can offer. So they offer legal assistance in housing, domestic violence, and immigration. And they are willing to do one-on-one consultations with people over Zoom. So we're going to offer that, we think, what do we say, once a month, I think? I think that's what we said. We're going to offer that. But this is sort of a preliminary informational session that our residents can sign up for and see what kind of services they offer and how they go about that. So that's something that we hope to be setting up and moving forward with. Let's see. Okay, talked about all these things. Ed, you talked about Taste Park Ridge coming up. You want to talk about that a little bit more? When is that, and what do we usually do? I think not all the new board members know about how we've typically been involved in that and what we typically would do in connection with Taste Park Ridge.
Yeah, sure. I reached out, I spoke to Dave Iglo, who handles, he's the president of the Taste of Park Ridge. I'm going to be doing running the beer tent on Saturday night. So if any of the elected officials, I believe it's July 16th, if anybody wants to volunteer an hour of their time to pass out beers and meet people. It's a good event. There's plenty of other stuff that doesn't involve beer, like the bingo event. I know, I'm not sure if he reached out to you or Marie.
No,
to set that up.
Marie did mention to me that they typically have the bingo event. Marie, do you want to say, what is that bingo event usually? It's a separate event than the beer tent.
Yeah, the bingo event is usually held on Friday afternoon. They usually have a picnic movie for like any seniors in the township, anybody who's at the Taste of Park Ridge, they go to the movie, and then afterwards in the afternoon, they come and play bingo. So they actually, the Taste of Park Ridge Committee sets up a long tent with tables and chairs for all of us, and people come. We advertise it in our newsletter as well, and we get all sorts of people and kids playing bingo that morning, that afternoon.
All right, so now do you need volunteers for the bingo tent too?
You know what, what we usually do is send out an email to the board to see if anybody wants to come out and call bingo for
Okay.
2 minutes. We kind of rotate, so you don't have to stand there too long.
Yeah, we usually go and like call a game or two.
Yeah, it's usually about like close to like, I would think an hour and a half. So if you rotate like 15 minutes, everybody just kind of pop in and say hi and everything.
All right. So, if people could put that on their calendar, you'll know that's coming up. You can volunteer maybe at bingo and/or at the beer tent on the following day, Saturday. So that's great.
Are we going to have our informational tents up this year? Do you know for that?
Well, tell me about that.
What we've done in the past is some of the different departments on Saturday, they usually have a number of tents set up where people can come along, get information. We usually hand out like fans or pens or candy for the kids or whatever, where they can get different information on the different departments, like the assessor's office, the clerk's office, general assistants, whatever. I forget which some of the other ones have been there in the past, but we usually do that on Saturday. Yeah, that's usually Saturday from like, about 9 to 1, something like that.
Something 2 or 3, something.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, we always usually have a very good presence at the Taste of Park Ridge.
All right, great. Alicia, I'm going to ask you to sort of stay on top of that and make sure we have those tents and the information for it, okay?
As long as we're talking about events, I just wanted to bring up real quick, if I may.
No, go ahead.
We are going to go ahead with National Night Out this year, since everything is heading in that direction. So our first meeting is probably going to be in April. I'm just kind of working on firming up some dates, so everybody will get an email. We usually, for the first meeting, we'll get together, have pizza, and then kind of come up with a theme for this year's National Night Out, and then go from there. So I will keep you all posted, but I spoke with the new head over at the Gulf Maine Park District today, and they're on board with us, so we're going to move forward and get it done.
Great. Do you know what the date is?
It'll be Tuesday, August 2nd, will be the actual National Night Out event at D Park.
Okay. Great. I'm glad to hear we're going to be able to do that this year.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's been too long. So.
Yeah. Right. Okay, all right. Another announcement from the Office of the Attorney General. Remember last time I told you their website is actually up, and as elected public officials, we have to take the Open Meetings Act training every year. So I was able to get in and take the training. So you might want to set aside some time to do that. There are 97 PowerPoint slides to go through in this training, so it takes more than a little time. And once you get your certificate of completion printed out, you do need to give it to Vaisha or give it to Eva, because we, as a public body, have to keep these on file, showing that our public officials have completed the Open Meeting Act training. And I also did the Freedom of Information Act training, which is another training, which I think you, Vaisha, and I, and Kim have to complete, because we respond to the FOIA request.
Right.
And that's an additional 106 PowerPoint slides. So anyway, just thought I'd let you know that that is up, and you can do it whenever you have time.
Is it easy to find it when we go to the website?
Well,
Or could someone send all of us a link to it?
you just go to the Attorney General's website and click on PAC at the bottom, and then you sort of have to like navigate. You have to log in, you have to create a login and all that. So, Yeah.
Do we have a deadline on that, Karen? Do you know?
I didn't see a deadline on the website yet. I don't think there's actually a deadline.
Yeah, okay.
Or if there is, I didn't see it.
Okay, and it should take approximately how many hours?
I give it at least a half hour. I would say at least a half hour.
A half hour?
Well, if you read fast, you read fast.
Okay.
I
thought
don't
you
know,
were
it's
gonna-
up to you. You can make this spend a little time if you want.
Thank you. I just didn't know. All right.
Okay, fine. All right. And then in terms of other things to discuss, Pete, did you want to discuss OEM tonight or not tonight? It's up to you.
That's for, that's,
I'm sorry, Sir Pete. I keep saying the wrong thing. I'm sorry. That's the second time at least I've called someone.
I will defer to Ed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not we didn't get it on the agenda, so
No.
it's up to you if you want.
It's just for discussion. So, I mean, if you want to do that now, we can. If you want to wait till the March 8th, that's up to you.
I'm fine with leaving it until March 8th, that's fine.
All right, okay, fine. We'll talk about it more then, because we are actually going to have a regular meeting that night, or do we need to call it a special?
We need to schedule the meeting, right?
We need to schedule it and after the budget hearing. So the budget hearing, what time do we?
6:30 is budget, right? And your budget is 6:30, so what, 6:45,
Sure.
Probably,
Yeah.
right? Is it okay?
yes.
Fine.
To set the branding, yeah, to talk about branding, that'll be one item on the agenda. And then another item on the agenda will be to talk about the OEM
Okay.
issue, right? Is that correct?
So those are at 6:45.
Yes, correct. All right, now, do any other members of either the board or the elected officials have any announcements you would like to make? No, Kelly, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Kelly. Oh, I just wanted to share, I talked to some of you about this, but just something that I'm kind of working on, that I'm hoping to work on. A few months ago, I was able to get us a donation from this company called Baker Creek Seeds. They do heirloom, like, seeds for gardening. And so they, at the end of the year, they always do donations to like, nonprofits and all sorts of things of seeds, tons of seeds. So I have a huge envelope with tons and tons of seed packets. And so I had talked to Nick a little bit about this, but what I wanted to do was kind of make little packets that we can like give away either through the food pantry so people can kind of learn to grow their own food for the summer. It's all vegetables. I think there's some flowers in there too. But then I was thinking, you know, it would be fun to kind of coordinate with Lurby's or even Home Depot and see if we could do some sort of like a class or something on gardening or do like a little workshop. But then I also had talked to Maine East, and they have an ecology club. They also have their Gifted Lyceum program, and they were interested in having some kids get involved too. If like we could take the seeds and package them up into little packets, and we could just do like a giveaway one day so people can get some vegetable seeds. And eventually what I would like to do, and it wouldn't happen this year, but hope maybe next year, is I'd love for us to have like a small community garden where we could even grow produce, and that could even be given away through the food pantry. But so this is just sort of like a fun little side project that I'm working on. So anybody's welcome to help and get involved. So.
Well, Kelly, thanks very much. I think the donation of the seeds is wonderful, and I think we would like to distribute them. Generally, I'm not sure exactly how or where, but one option is, of course, through the food pantry, just to give them out. But maybe, I mean, a lot of our residents would just like to get some of those.
Sure. We do like a special
seeds. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I will mention that Niles Township, they do have their own garden that they grow their food in, and then they have it in their own food pantry. It's not a community garden so much, I mean, it's just not available to anyone to get pots. It's not that type of garden, but it's their own garden where they grow some food. And then have those fresh vegetables available in their food pantry. So,
check it out.
Right, and now Mike was just talking recently about his landscaping budget. And so, Mike, maybe we'll buy some vegetables too.
We could do that as well, so some flowers and get some veggies going.
All right, we'll talk
Yeah.
about that. Okay, other people have any announcements? So Tim had her hand up before, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to invite everybody to the Neighborhood Watch meeting next Wednesday, which I believe is March 2nd at 7:30. So, as you know, the meeting, we usually have the commander of the sheriff's police, our fire marshal from Maine Fire Department.
It's a Monday, Kim?
It's a Wednesday night.
March 7th is a Monday.
Second?
Second.
Oh, sorry, thanks.
Yep.
March
And,
2nd.
Alicia, this will be her first meeting, was supposed to be this month, but it snowed, there was kind of a terrible snowstorm, so we canceled it. So, everybody's welcome, and we hope that our residents will attend. Anybody here, of course, too.
Okay. Now, Jim, I think you had indicated, yeah.
Just two really quick things, Karen. I just want to let I attended 2 events. One was peer jury administered through Richard and his young assistant. I would recommend anyone to see that. That was outstanding. It's amazing how these young kids see right through this false statements and the inconsistencies of the kids they're judging. It's just amazing how smart they are. And it was great. They're all like young prosecutors or whatever. And it was really fun to watch it. I think the people that get judged really get helped instead of being in the court system. And the second thing, I attended along with Karen, one of Marty's events this past Friday, I think it was, with Nick. And there was an exceptionally good speech by a young man who's benefited from the program, very emotive, and it just showed how much he benefited by the program and how many people helped him to overcome his addiction. It was great. So I would recommend anybody to see some of these live speakers. These kids who have gone through these struggles are just absolutely amazing, and shows the good things that the township does.
All right. Anyone else want to add anything? Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, oh
I
yeah.
think we were going to ask the board's availability so we can reschedule trustee Horvath's handbook presentation.
Yes, thank you, that's right. Yes, your presentation, Kelly, what is that again?
Yeah, this is optional. I mean, so basically I had, was able to get us an account with a site called Canva, and it's basically sort of like a web-based graphic design software where like you can use it to make flyers and all sorts of different templates for things. So like for example, the flyer that we saw in the different languages, like that's something that they could make, and they would have access to tons of stock images and illustrations and could kind of pull that in. So it was just a training for anyone that was interested in learning how to use that. And my initial thought was to have at least one person from the different departments be trained on that so they can learn, so that if, the mainstreamers has an event coming up and somebody wanted to make a flyer for, something, they would have the resources to do that. And so we had a training set up and then it had to be canceled, so I'm going to reschedule it, and anyone from the board is welcome to attend, but it's not a requirement. So.
All right. If you do want to attend, please let Kelly know and let her know when you're available, like what time or what days. And we will try to accommodate everyone. I'm not sure it'll work out, but we'll try and do that.
All right, would you give us a couple dates, Kelly?
What?
Would you give us a couple dates, please?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm pretty flexible, so I can do it just about any.
Well, you want to suggest some dates?
Oh,
And,
well, you're in this
all right, okay.
I can email.
All right, just email.
Yeah, about a couple of days. I don't know, maybe an hour, less than that. And so I did, another thing I could do is I wanted to come here and do it in person, but I could also do a Zoom one, like a separate one too, like in the evening. Originally I was going to do it during the day here, but I could also do one in the evening, like a Zoom one, and we can, I can share my screen and do it that way as well, for anybody else who wants to be.
All right, so anyone who wants to do it, let Kelly know if you're only available on certain days or times. And otherwise, she'll pick some dates and circulate them. Is that okay?
Yep.
All right, also speaking of dates, some of us, not all, some of the board members may not have been to visit our property on Redeker Drive, the Highway Department, and also the OEM building. And some may have been quite a few times, others maybe just a couple times. So also wanted to set up an opportunity for board members to go and visit it, and certainly elected officials are welcome to come too, but I suspect they've been there already. But if you want to visit and tell me when was a good time, perhaps either late in the afternoon or on a Saturday morning, please let me know what's a good time for you, and we'll try and pick a day when people can do that, if you want to. Again, some people may not be that interested, but for those of us who haven't been there, or been there very often, that's an option. Okay. All right. Any other announcements? Any announcements? Okay. All right. I don't hear anything, and I think that was the last thing on our agenda other than the closed session. May I have a motion? May I have a motion to go into a closed session for the purpose of reviewing closed session minutes?
So moved. Second.
All right. May I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So we will be going into a closed session now for that limited purpose. All right. If anybody wants to stay around, they are welcome to do so, but I don't, certainly not required to do that.
Well, you gotta motion to return.
Oh, yeah, okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to return to open session.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, welcome back to open session. To address the matters we discussed in closed session, we will now handle a few motions. Do I have a motion to approve the closed session minutes of August 24th, 2021?
Motion to approve the closed session minutes of August 24th, 2021.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Wait, roll call.
Yeah, we should.
Roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, now we had previously indicated that several of our closed session minutes would be not released, but tonight I believe we are releasing several of those minutes. And I'd like a motion to release to the public our motions from our closed session minutes of August 24th, 2021, December 27th, 2018, January 28th of 2020, and February 23rd of 2021. Do I have a motion to release those minutes?
So
Second.
Okay, any discussion based on that?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. We have several that have not been released, and they will remain confidential.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do I have a motion on that?
Yeah, motion that
Okay.
the board finds as continuing confidentiality for the following minutes.
All right, can I have a motion to find there's a continuing need for confidentiality for the minutes of October 22nd, 2019, May 25th of 2021, and July 27th of 2021. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Kelly said so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, maybe a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. I believe that concludes our business for this evening. Therefore, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All right, have a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, thank you all very much.